It was the night Angela Bassett sat alone in her trailer on the set of the film that would make her a star. She had filmed the same scene 14 times. She had done everything she had been asked to do, and she was no longer certain she could do it again. That was when her phone rang, and the voice on the other end was Tina Turner. Los Angeles, 1992. The production of What's Love Got to Do with It had been underway for several weeks. It was, by any measure, a difficult film to make. Not technically difficult, emotionally difficult in the specific way that films about survival are difficult. When the story being told is not fictional, when the woman whose life is on the screen is still alive, and when the actress charged with telling that story has to find a way to inhabit not just the movements and the voice, but the damage and the recovery. Angela Bassett had prepared for the role with the kind of rigor that the part demanded. She had studied Tina Turner across decades of footage, the early performances, the Ike and Tina years, the comeback, the stadiums. She had trained her body, the physicality of the performance, the dancing, the particular way Tina moved on a stage, the energy that seemed to come from somewhere beyond what bodies are normally asked to provide. She had spoken with Tina directly. Not many times. Tina had given her cooperation to the film, but had maintained her characteristic distance from the specific details of the process. She had given Angela Bassett the story. She had not given her a method for surviving it. The scene they had been filming that day was one of the abuse sequences. It appears in the film in compressed form, minutes on screen that represent years of a life. On set, filming those minutes had required something different from the usual demands of production. The director had called for 14 takes, not because the performances were wrong, because the performances were getting closer to something that required precision. And precision, in scenes like this, costs more than most productions ask of their actors. Angela Bassett had given 14 takes. She had done what the scene required. She had not left anything in reserve, because the scene was not the kind of scene you could approach with reserve. When the director finally called cut for the last time that evening, she had walked to her trailer, she had sat down, and she had not moved for a very long time. A production assistant named Clara had passed by the trailer twice. On the third pass, she had knocked lightly. No answer. She had opened the door 6 inches and looked inside. Angela Bassett was sitting in the chair facing the mirror. She was not crying. She was not speaking. She was simply sitting, with the particular stillness of someone who has taken on more than the body knows how to process and has stopped processing. Clara had closed the door. She had made one phone call. The phone in the trailer rang 12 minutes later. Angela Bassett looked at it for 2 rings before she answered. The voice on the other end did not introduce itself. It did not need to. It said, "They told me you had a hard day." Angela Bassett looked at her own reflection in the trailer mirror. She said, "I don't know if I can do this." There was a silence on the other end, not the silence of someone thinking of what to say, the silence of someone who has decided to let the words land before they respond. Tina Turner said, "What part can't you do?" It was not what Angela Bassett expected. She had expected, if she had expected anything, reassurance. The standard words that one professional offers another when the work becomes difficult. "You're doing beautifully. Everyone can see it. Just keep going." Instead, "What part can't you do?" Angela Bassett thought about the question. She said, "The part where she stays." Another silence. longer this time. Tina Turner said, "I've been asked that question my whole life. Why did you stay? How could you stay?" She said, "The answer is different every time I give it. Because the person asking is always looking for a different answer." She said, "Some people want to hear that I was afraid, and I was. Some people want to hear that I was trapped, and I was that too. But the true answer, the one I don't say very often, is that I stayed because leaving felt like admitting that none of it had meant anything." Angela Bassett sat very still in her chair. She said nothing. Tina continued. She said, "When you play that scene, when you show her staying, you're not playing weakness. You're playing the most human thing there is. The belief that the thing you've given yourself to has to be worth something, even when everything is telling you it isn't." She said, "That's not a failure. That's what people do. Most of them just never have to do it in front of cameras." Angela Bassett looked at the mirror again. She had been looking at Tina Turner's face in that mirror for weeks. The hair, the eyes, the way the jaw set when she was about to perform. She had been trying to find her. And here was the woman herself, on the phone, at night, in a trailer on a film lot in Los Angeles, telling her something that no amount of footage had told her. She said, "How did you keep going? After you left, how did you keep going when there was nothing?" Tina said, "There was never nothing. There was always the voice. The one thing that was always mine." She said, "Whatever they take, and they will try to take things, they cannot take what you were born with. They can take your money, your name, your audience, your confidence. They cannot take the thing you came in with." Angela Bassett sat with that for a long moment. The trailer was quiet. Outside, the production lot had gone dark, generators running, security lights casting orange across the empty set. She said, "I'm going to try to show that." Tina said, "I know you will." Then she said something that Angela Bassett would repeat in various interviews across the following years, without always naming its source. She said, "When you play me, don't play what happened to me. Play what survived it." The call lasted 22 minutes. When it ended, Angela Bassett sat in her trailer for a few more minutes. Then she stood up. She looked at herself in the mirror. She went back to work the next morning. What's Love Got to Do with It was released in June 1993. Angela Bassett received the Academy Award nomination for Best Actress. She received the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama. Critics described her performance as one of the most complete physical and emotional transformations the screen had seen in a decade. Some said she had not played Tina Turner. She had become her. Tina Turner attended a private screening of the film before its release. She said in one brief statement that the film had made her understand things about her own life that she had not previously been able to see clearly. She said Angela Bassett had shown her things she had survived that she had not given herself credit for surviving. The night before the film opened, Angela Bassett sat in a theater in Los Angeles and watched herself on a screen. She watched the scenes that had required 14 takes. She watched the scenes that had followed the phone call. She could tell the difference. In the scenes before, the performance was there, the physicality, the voice, the face, everything that preparation produces. In the scenes after, something else was there. The thing that cannot be prepared. The thing that can only be given. by someone who had lived it, on a phone call, on a night in a trailer, when it was needed most. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Subscribe for more untold stories from the lives of the legends who gave everything. And leave a comment below. What does Tina Turner's story mean to you? We read every single one.